Secretariat, the horse that forever changed history. The horse racing world would forever be changed when a big red horse captured America's hearts. In the late 60s and early 70s, horse racing was a sport for rich white men. Women and other ethnicities were uncommon spectators, owners, trainers, and even jockeys. But because of the spectacular horse, not only did horse racing become a sport that any average person could enjoy, it also became extremely popular all around the world. Secretariat captured America's heart not only because he was an amazing racehorse, but because he was an inspiration and hope for America during hard times. Beginning in 1972, Secretariat dominated the racing world by setting numerous world records which prompted trainers and owners to study Secretariat and his offspring to improve future racing methods. Penny Chenery was Secretariat's owner from birth and throughout his racing career. Secretariat was sired by Bold Ruler and Something Royal, both who were very successful racehorses in their days. Chenery took part in a coin toss to determine whether she kept Something Royal's foal or Hastings Matilda's foal, who were both sired by Bold Ruler. Chenery's desire was to get Something Royal's foal because of the horse's bloodlines. When Ogden Phipps, Chenery's competitor, won the coin toss, it was wonderful when he chose Hastings Matilda's foal. Ogden Phipps chose Hastings Matilda's foal because its mother was only 8 years old compared to Something Royal, who was 17 years old at the time. Broodmares tend to produce more successful offspring at a younger age. No matter what the reason, Penny Chenery was still ecstatic when she got her first choice, Something Royal's foal, the horse who would later become the future Secretariat. Throughout Secretariat's life, the loving, compassionate his team showed him shaped Secretariat into the successful racehorse he would become. As his groom Eddie Sweat once said, "Show him that you're trying to help him. Love him, talk to him." Secretariat was a very intelligent horse, which allowed his training to go along smoothly and a lot faster than an average racehorse's. As well as being intelligent, Secretariat was a kind and laid-back horse, helping him to take to commands without a fight. In addition to his loving upbringing, Secretariat's physical stature contributed to his extraordinary abilities. In Secretariat's bloodlines, there are quite a few horses who carried the large heart gene. A lot of them were broodmares such as his dam, Something Royal, who could have very likely passed it on to their offspring. What is the significance of a large heart? Large hearts allow horses to synthesize oxygen faster and more effectively, which helps horses to run at a faster pace. He has a neck like a buffalo, a back as broad as a sofa, Time magazine reported. Secretariat has a very muscular neck, which helps with balance and flexibility. His broad back meant he was stronger in carrying his jockey over longer distances would not affect his performance. The way Secretariat was bred and brought up prepared him to become a victorious racehorse. In 1972, during his first year of racing, Secretariat won 5 races and became Horse of the Year as well as the champion 2-year-old. This created excitement and anticipation across the country for the upcoming Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby is the first race of the Triple Crown and is held at Churchill Downs. In May of 1973, a record attendance of 134,476 fans poured into Churchill Downs. Fans came to watch and encounter this extraordinary big red powerhouse who had become the most popular horse in America. Kentucky Derby participation is limited to only 3-year-old colts, meaning this is Secretariat's only chance to enter into horse racing immortality by setting a new record. It is important to note that Secretariat had a different strategy than most other racehorses. Rather than trying to lead the pack from the beginning of the race, Secretariat dropped to the back of the pack as soon as he was out of the gate. As the race progressed, this meant he was passing horses one at a time, building speed every quarter mile. Eventually, Secretariat emerged as the leader of the pack. He won the 1.25-mile Kentucky Derby with a time of 1 minute and 59 seconds. Not only was Secretariat the winner, but he also set a new track record. The most amazing thing about Secretariat's Derby win was that his time actually increased every quarter mile. If you think of a runner running the race, the runner will most likely slow down as the race progresses. Instead, Secretariat, being the tremendous racehorse he is, gains speed every quarter mile, starting at 25 seconds and a fifth per quarter mile at the beginning of the Derby and ending at 23 seconds per quarter mile. This outstanding Kentucky Derby win earned Secretariat immediate racing immortality in just one race. But Secretariat was not done. The next race of the Triple Crown was the Preakness Stakes at Pimlico Racecourse, where Secretariat would explore more records to be broken. Secretariat would use yet another strategy to secure his win. Like before, he settled behind the pack coming out of the gate. However, as he was coming around the first turn, Secretariat made a daring move and darted up to the front of the pack, ready to challenge any other horses who dared come near. His skillful maneuver was successful. Secretariat won that 1 3/16 mile race with yet another track record of 1 minute and 53 seconds flat. Now the question was, could Secretariat possibly be the first winner of the Triple Crown since 1948 when a horse named Citation last achieved this momentous feat? Well, the Belmont Stakes, the final race of the Triple Crown, would determine whether or not Secretariat became a legend. The Belmont Stakes is 1.5 miles long and is the most prestigious race in the Triple Crown. The reason being that horses who won both the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes are usually short-distance horses and have a harder time with longer distances such as the Belmont Stakes. This being said, the Triple Crown is extremely hard to win, and only 8% of horses who have previously won both the Derby and the Preakness will actually win the entire Triple Crown. So as Secretariat positioned himself in the starting gate, the question lingered whether or not Secretariat would exchange greatness for immortality. Secretariat proved his believers correct by not only winning, but setting a new world record for running 1.5 miles at a time of 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Secretariat won the Belmont Stakes with a 31-length lead, or 248 feet. To put this into perspective, he won by just about the length of a football field. Secretariat will always be cemented in horse racing history as the amazing big red horse who captured America's hearts. After Secretariat won the Triple Crown, the media exploded. Secretariat was featured on multiple magazine covers as well as newspapers. Books and documentaries were also published about him. Even a movie was produced based on Secretariat's life. Everyone in America was in love with this big red horse. People came from all over the world to visit Secretariat as a retired racehorse at Claiborne Farms. 10,000 people come to this farm every year, and all they want to see is Secretariat. They don't give a hoot about the other studs. You want to know who Secretariat is in human terms? Just imagine the greatest athlete in the world. The greatest. Now make him 6'3", the perfect height. Make him real intelligent and kind. And on top of that, make him the best looking guy ever to come down the pike. He was all of these things as a horse. He isn't even a horse anymore. He's a legend, William Knox states. Trainers and owners everywhere were very impressed with Secretariat's Triple Crown victory. Because of this, Secretariat became the subject of many to try and figure out how it was possible for a racehorse to be as increasingly fast as he is after each quarter mile. After much exploration, the answer they found was indeed his big heart. Secretariat's heart weighed 22 pounds, which is triple the size of an average thoroughbred's heart. One reason many experts believe Secretariat was fast was due to his abnormally large heart that he inherited from his dams from King Royal. A large heart in a thoroughbred is believed to increase stamina over longer distances, which may have contributed to his success in longer races. Or as William Knack puts it, he had a larger motor and he was able to crack up oxygen and synthesize it faster and more effectively than any other horse I've ever seen. The unprecedented success of Secretariat caught the envious attention of other owners and trainers. Attaining Secretariat's offspring within their own barns could deliver a higher probability to be a future Triple Crown winner. Secretariat's success did create a barrier. The cost to breed a broodmare with Secretariat cost $125,000 per breeding. However, the hopes of seeing Secretariat's offspring recreate his victorious Triple Crown never happened. It was not that Secretariat was a bad stud. It was just that people had unrealistic hopes for his offspring. Of his 653 foals, 57 of them would go on to be stakes winners. This is about 11% of his offspring, which is a respectable number. One could argue some records are meant to remain unbroken. Through the years, Secretariat exemplifies that statement. On October 4, 1989, the flags at Belmont Park were flying at full staff. Tradition says not to lower them for the death of a horse, but many fans agreed that Secretariat wasn't just a horse, he was a legend. At 11:45 a.m. at Claiborne Farms in Paris, Kentucky, Secretariat was given a lethal injection. Secretariat had been struggling with laminitis, a painful and usually incurable hoof disease, for a month prior to his death. There was a procedure that could have saved him for a couple months longer, but there was only a 1 in 20 chance of it working. Seth Hancock, the owner of Claiborne Farms, said he's been too good of the world to go through any more pain, so as a result, they gave him the lethal injection. Secretariat will always be remembered as the big red horse who captured the Triple Crown as well as America's hearts.